All right, welcome everybody to a product spotlight. Today is another awesome day with a leader in the offsite modular space, Roger Krulak, founder of Full Stack Modular, a leader innovator in the design, manufacture, and construction of mid and high-rise modular buildings in urban environments. Offsite construction is in a growth mode. What does that mean for Full Stack Modular? Already a dominant force in and around the New York City area. So, is there West Coast expansion coming? Woodlawn Chicago? Collaboration as a byproduct? As we think about what's important in the manufacturing process today, creating a pipeline, standardizing a product, operating with a constrained supply chain, and scalability. As old Blue Eyes said about New York, if I can make it there, I can make it anywhere. Truth? I don't know. With over 25 years in the construction industry, Roger has extensive experience on both the construction and development sides of real estate. In 2008, Roger spearheaded the first R&D project for modular construction, which led to the founding of FSM and the creation of the tallest volumetric modular building in the world. He is the recipient of the Popular Mechanics Breakthrough Award 2014 for his work on the creation of high-rise modular processes. We cannot bring you any of this content without our sponsor. So a quick shout out and thank you to Forward Solutions Group for allowing us to deliver these examples of construction innovation. Forward Solutions Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Learn more about Forward's recent acquisition of Moducore, which is an ERP solution for offsite manufacturing. Contact Ben Hershey to learn more. Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. And we got to also say thank you to Howick Ltd. Howick has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and produces innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the U.S. and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for offsite modular construction or fast build construction with light steel framing. Go to their website at www.howickltd.com. All right, without further ado, let's hop into it. Let's bring Roger into the show. Roger Krulak, what's happening, my friend?
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Hey, it's another beautiful sunny day here in South Carolina. I don't know what it's like up in Brooklyn, New York, but right where I'm at right now, it's pretty darn good. How are you?
Beautiful sunny day. I'm doing great. And pretty excited about what's going on in the world and in our industry right now. It's a very exciting time, something I've been waiting a long time. And I can't go without sort of saying that at the time it was built, it was the tallest modular building in the world. It is no longer the tallest modular building in the world, which I think is super exciting.
Well, you know what? Somebody had to set the tone and set the pace so somebody could break the record. I mean, records are meant to be broken. Look at it across the country in every industry. So, all right, Roger, you're no stranger to the show. We had a great get-together in San Francisco with you and some other industry leaders. Why don't you just give us your quick 2-minute rundown on who Full Stack Modular is, who Roger Krulak is, and where you guys are headed. And then we're going to get into this conversation about West Coast expansion, Woodlawn Chicago, collaboration as a byproduct. We got a lot to talk about, so hop into it. Go for it.
We do. Thanks, Dave. So, Full Stack Modular is a design, manufacture, construct solution, very focused on mid to high rise buildings in a dense urban environment. Given that I did sort of created this business in New York, obviously dense urban is what happens. But I also, if you look at the growth of the world, even, sort of looking at post-COVID, the reality is that the majority of the jobs that exist even now and in the future are focused on a dense urban environment. And in order for people to successfully live and not commute as much, there's still that sort of urban need for housing, especially attainable housing or sort of workforce housing. So Full Stack is completely aligned with that mission. Although we can build everything from very inexpensive mid to high rise housing to full luxury buildings, the process does allow us, and our system does allow us to go, for example, up to 45 stories in a double loaded corridor in a non-seismic zone, and up to say 28 or so for sure in a seismic zone. So and the system is pretty comprehensive. It provides a full SMEP distributed system, including all finished rooms, facade installed. You don't need scaffolding on our buildings. So it is a comprehensive solution, and we need to get involved. And frankly, if you're talking or listening or thinking about a modular or offsite process, do not start thinking about what you want until you decide what system you want to use in order to get it. If you don't listen to anything else that I say, the rest of the thing, listen to that. And that's good news is it's happening more and more.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, it's all about systems. It's all about process. It's all about designing for manufacturing. You got to know where you're going before you start. One of the things that you guys have done, I know from our past conversation, which almost crashed my computer during our live stream, was a super behind the scenes, comprehensive, generative, parametric design that you guys have put together to help you design and build at the manufacturing facility.
Yeah, so we do have a completely integrated parametric process where we take our systems, we use our systems to conceptualize even a bespoke building before we even start entering into the idea of how to create it from an architectural design perspective. And again, building from, you got it, building from the inside out is where it's at, right? And modularly, it's even more of that. And we do interesting things, we turn system installation upside down. We put the diaphragm on the roof instead of the floor. We move, we move, connection and flexibility in system distribution into the center of, the floor instead of at the edges, because It makes sense from a modular perspective. But the idea is utilizing, that's one of my favorite, you can stop right there, utilizing the idea of everything as a sub-assembly that goes into an assembly process whereby you create the built environment. So it's not thinking about it in trade divisions, although they all obviously exist in our buildings, but thinking about it into what components can I effectively create and make, or buy or collaborate with to create the built environment with high quality, effectiveness, quality assurance, and speed. Those are the things that drive manufacturing as a whole, including manufacturing of the built environment.
Sure. So you guys are based out of Brooklyn, New York. I know we've touched on it a little bit. What's going on the West Coast? Like, I mean, come on, you're a New Yorker. What are you going west for?
Yeah. So for a long time, we've been flirting with the West Coast, and the interesting thing is that New York is a tough place to do business. It's interestingly, in some ways, we create the most interesting solutions to problems that exist in the world, and somehow don't adapt them faster than everybody else in the world. So we are doing well in New York, and it's super exciting. And as a result of that growth, we have co-located with our steel manufacturer, Evans Metal Prefab in Portland, Oregon, to have a West Coast factory of about 100,000 feet of our production space. And we're building some buildings in California that are to go into production very shortly on the West Coast. So we are very busy sort of marketing that for projects anywhere from San Diego to Seattle.
From San Diego to Seattle. And so as far as being fully operational and running, how where are you at with that?
By May. By May we should be fully up and running. We're already building there, but by May we should be sort of cranking out fully volumetric mods on a weekly basis. We're ramping up.
Awesome. That is amazing. And when we come out there, hopefully we can do a factory tour and show the world what you guys are doing. I'd love that. And if you have any plans of doing the next tallest modular building in the world, Roger, we would love to be a part of that story as it continues as well.
Yeah, let's make it the quickest modular building in the world. How about that? That's, you know,
right.
like I think that's the next race, right? Is like, how quickly can you deliver this from concept to occupancy? So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, so what does all this have to do with you know, good old Chicago style pizza in Woodlawn? Tell me.
Yeah, so we have been tapped by an amazing effort in Chicago called Woodlawn Central to think about how to sustainably and intelligently build most of an urban revitalization effort in Woodlawn, Chicago, which is just south of Hyde Park and close to the new Obama Library. And the project is being spearheaded by Bishop Byron Brazier and his son. It is an incredible transit-oriented development, hotel, 1.2 million square feet of residential, everything from affordable to condos, and they are using our expertise to think about how to do that with community involvement, collaboration, and obviously a modular volumetric solution and other offsite, you know, other offsite solutions.
Yeah. No, I mean, I listen, collaboration is such a big thing, right? We've seen it since we've known each other. You know, I'm starting to see collaboration, just talking with you, with companies from around the world and within this country as well. And that moving forward, and that's kind of a byproduct of our industry at the moment, right? So why don't we talk about this as a product, though? How is this collaboration how is it a product? Like, people are going collaborating. How's that a product?
Yeah. So I look at it this way. As I mentioned earlier, you know, our built environment is a series of sub-assemblies, and before the sub-assemblies, it's actually a
Did we lose Roger? All right, so hopefully Roger will join us back here in just a moment. So let me pull Roger off here. So Roger, when you get your stream back in, you let us know. You pop back in. I'm sure he'll be right back in before too long. Oh, there he is. Roger, you back with us?
Yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah. Reliable connectivity is a product that I would like to be able to sort of provide. But anyway, so the idea of utilizing people who are similarly focused is a huge advantage. And you know, the one thing about manufacturing that gets lost in the built environment space, the AEC space, is that manufacturers don't necessarily make everything that they put into their systems, right. and they don't necessarily create all of the design elements that go into their systems. But what they do is they find an intelligent way to assemble that in a way that is cost effective and time effective. And what we're seeing, and you know, sort of thanks to the get together we had in California, there is a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of opportunity to collaborate with people in our industry and people adjacent to our industry to think about how do we collaborate. And right now, I mean, I'm in discussions with IQ in Poland and ModLogic and Jim Gabriel, and I'm speaking to Dirt, Do It Right this time, and we're all trying to figure out, like, what's a good way of skinning the cat, and together we do it, I think, more powerfully than being all things to all people, which I definitely am not. You could just ask my wife. So.
Well, it's Roger, I think what's amazing about this, right, and it was the whole idea of our event, was to get the industry leaders speaking. Now, all of you happen to be in the modular space, but we had panelized folks there. We all have a widget, and this was the idea. How does collaboration become a byproduct? Because like you said, there's a lot further that we can go as an industry if we just start talking amongst ourselves. And when I say that, when folks like yourself, leaders in the space that have manufacturing, have investments in where this is headed, speak, we can go a lot further together. So that's awesome. All right, listen, everybody, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. But we are on Twitter, so get your tweets on. And also, you'll see down there in that bottom left corner, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are growing fast and furious. Roger, we're hitting well over 100,000 minutes a month watched anymore. It's kind of cool.
Amazing.
I don't know. They use minutes. I guess it sounds better than hours. It sounds good to me. What the hell? But we're having fun. Also, unfortunately, the platforms are having their issues with comments coming through. So Jen's compiling comments. Twitch is coming through, though. I see you, Greg Ugaldi. If you go to Twitch, you always get a chance of getting on the show. Greg Ugaldi, Roger has great views and new methods. Nice work, Dave and Jen. All right, Roger, let's continue with this conversation. And let's talk about what's important in the manufacturing process today in your eyes. Like when you and Jim Gabriel, right? I call him Dr. Gabriel. He's been in the industry a long time too. And Christoph from IQ Module in Poland. All of you have been in this industry for a long time. What is it that you guys think is the most important thing right now when it comes to the manufacturing process today?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you are seeing, and part of what we are sort of experiencing for the first time, is a willingness and an understanding of that the modular industry has something to say about how to create the built environment. And in order to do that, you have to understand that there is, I know you use the word byproduct, there is a product that we need to create. And we need to collaborate in order to do that effectively and quickly. But in addition to that, I think one of the things that gets lost in that conversation is that development, construction historically, I mean, I've been in construction most of my life, you know, it's a lumpy business, right? You know, it's boom or bust. I've got a development project that I hope to get built 3 years from today. I'm going to spend a few $100,000 and hopefully I'll make millions. Like all those things are very interesting and completely, American in every way. However, the world of factory and manufacturing doesn't live that way. The world of factory and manufacturing lives in a very different world. In order to make a factory profitable, in order to make money, in order to make the processes be efficient, you have to have consistent throughput through the factory. So having a throughput through your factory is what makes everything sing. And so I think in the built environment, we're so used to sort of this lumpiness. The manufacturing business and industry does not have the ramp up, wrap down capacity as we're seeing by supply chain problems, right? I mean, all the factories that slowed down during COVID still have not caught up, and I don't know when they're gonna catch up. So that's something that we have to be cognizant of. And part of the reason collaboration somewhat makes sense, but if you don't have work to put through your factory, it's a big bill to pay. Not a lot of advantages.
Right. Listen, right. I mean, you still got payroll, you got equipment sitting there, you got materials sitting there. It is a big bill to pay. So listen, if you guys are just joining us, let us know where you're joining from. We will compile the comments and questions. Hopefully you're seeing them on your end. But we will be putting them up here and flashing them. If you have any questions for Roger, Roger loves questions. Definitely loves questions. Definitely put them in the comments. Put a Q before them so we know it's a question. We can catch it quickly. And just again, let us know where you are joining from. We got good old Joel Hutchins says, "Good day, Roger Krulak and Dave Cooper." Always good to hear from him. And I'm gonna make this other one too here. So I gotta put these together on the fly, Roger. That's how good we are, right? We're gonna put it on the This is who we were just talking about, Christoph Drost. Hi there. Great to see you guys. You know, he's one of my favorite Polish guys ever in the world. I don't know very many, but he made the top of the list. I hope all is well, Christoph. Good to see you. And of course, we'll do one more here with my good friend, Mark Willie. If you guys know Mark Willie, I'm going to put the banner in here. And Jen, maybe you can load these in the banners too to make it a little easier. Mark Willie says the toughest codes in the business are pound 312. Well, he would know. He lives in, or is from Chicago. Whether he's living there now or not, I do not know. So You mentioned supply chain, Roger.
Yep.
How is the offsite supply chain? How is it getting materials? Is it easier to get materials in California, or is it easier to get materials in New York?
Yeah, it depends on what
you legal want. Materials.
Yeah, no, it depends on what you want. I mean,
not the fell off the truck type.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, we're an all steel manufacturer, so we are finding that material readily available, absurdly priced, but readily available now. It's, you know, the costs don't make any sense, and hopefully we will see some normalization of that. But I can tell you that some of the things that we, like the computer industry or appliance industry, has suffered from the computer chips, you know, aluminum extrusions on our facades are woefully unavailable. And of course, it's very hard to make a facade without an aluminum extrusion. So we're finding a big holdup on that side. Other materials, you know, other materials are long lead, but they're still showing up. I mean, I think you're seeing some normalization. Don't get me wrong. The good news about manufacturing is you have a pretty good window as to when you're going to need it, but it is delayed twofold, threefold. You know, I mean, I don't see that sort of compressing most of this year. I mean, hopefully sooner than that, but we're not planning for it at this point. So, but we are getting what we need. We're just not getting it when, you know, as fast as we'd like to. So.
Yeah, understood. And I think that's across the globe, not just here. So what do you use in place of that?
What do you use in place of what? Aluminum extrusions? Nothing. I mean, you wait. You know, the sad news is that, you know, the question is, what do you do in your factory while you're waiting? You know, the interesting thing is that, you know, one of the wonderful things about manufacturing is you can organize logically the process by which you're creating something, as long as you have what you need. So now we're reorganizing our manufacture process to accommodate what it is we can get, which slows it down, but actually still creates, you know, productivity and process flow. It's a challenge, you know, it's a challenge. I don't know when it's going to be solved, but I'm confident it will be. So.
Here's a question from Jensen Varhees. Is there a sweet spot with regard to distance of a project from a modular factory? At what distance is it not viable due to logistical challenges? Now, this is a common question, but it's a real question. And as more people are looking to get into this space, understand our space, it's great that you have a chance to answer this, and hopefully it'll answer a lot of questions when people watch this later on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm going to say it depends, but let me tell you some real stuff. I mean, it depends on a lot of things. It depends on the volume of the project. It depends on how big it is. It depends on a lot of things and what can absorb that cost. But I mean, generally, I would say, you know, roughly 500 miles. But on the West Coast, you can go much farther just because of the way transportation works and how many states there are. But somewhere between 500 and 1,000 miles for a volumetric solution. And not necessarily for all the components of a volumetric solution. So, you know, bathroom pods, prefabricated wall systems, you know, some of those components can travel obviously across the world and the country. And frankly, you know, we can travel pretty effectively from Portland's dry dock at our factory to Hawaii, which is way longer than 500 miles, but it's on the boat. Not so easy today, but it's coming, you know, it will come back sometime soon. So, but you know, that's sort of it's a good, you know, circle 500-ish miles. You know, don't say I can't do it because it's 680 miles away, and it's not always possible to get 120 miles away, but it's mostly 500-ish miles.
Well, we appreciate your comment and your question there. All right, Mo, I don't know, Mo Fitter says, great content as always. Good to see you, Mo. We're glad you could join us. Now, here's a name to be reckoned with that's joining us today. What has happened, Mr. Jay Lepley? Good to see you, my friend. You know Jay?
Hi, Jay. How are you?
Yeah, hailing from New Hampshire, always intriguing, here in the modular and end of manufacturing. So, you know, Benson Wood, you know, Jay has been in the panelized and offsite space for a long, long time. We've covered some projects with them. They love the passive house world. They love the energy efficiency world. And there's very few people that understand it like Jay. So, Jay, it's good to see you, my friend. Christoph Throw, sharing experience and knowledge is the most important thing these days. We should all collaborate for modular industry's sake. He's saying, great job, Roger. Looks like you made a new friend.
Yeah, pretty exciting. So I think one of the things, that you mentioned is worth talking about, which is sustainability. I mean, pretty much in the news every day. Every day you hear about, funds that are doing ESG focus, that are looking to do impact-related investing, that are interested in creating all of those issues. And the reality is that building in a factory is by its nature sustainable and can be pushed incredibly far because they're very tight envelopes. The manufacturing tolerances are incredibly high. And honestly, adding a little extra insulation or adding some grid responsive appliances or monitoring on the low voltage side is just a simple other process in our system. So rather than trying to collaborate that in a sort of trade designed organized focus, we can just add a low voltage wire or create connectivity for a grid responsive appliance or install install the distribution for solar panel collectivity or batteries, etc. So we are, in my opinion, we are ESG by nature, and I think that doesn't get talked about enough because there's really no effort for us to do that.
Well, listen, there's less carbon footprint, there's less movement on a job site, there's less trucks coming, there's less dumpsters, when we compare notes, right? We're not cutting off 30% and throwing it in the garbage on site as we're building. That's somebody's money that goes in the dumpster. Jerry McCahey, we've been talking about starting a new show. It's going to be dumpster diving with Jerry and Dave at job sites. We're just going to go to job sites and dumpster dive. And every time we throw something out, a dollar bill is going to pop up so we can give people a visual. What do you think? You want to join us, Roger?
I do actually. I'll share a funny story with you just because you reminded me of it. I used to be in the sale. I told you, I've been in the development and construction business. And when I was in the development business, way back when, I was the sales head of sales for a family company. And I was driving down the street and I saw this woman with a station wagon loading treated lumber into the back of her car. Yeah. And I walked up and I said, hello, how are you doing? She says, oh, I'm doing really well, thank you. I said, well, what are you doing? She says, well, I have a few rotted pieces of lumber in my house, and Roger Krulak said that I could take it. And I said, oh, really, Roger? Yeah, she said, he's the senior vice president, and he said that I could take it. And I said, I'm Roger Krulak, so I don't remember giving you permission to take it. And then she, of course, summarily put the stuff back. But the good news about a factory is we control all that, right? And we don't have to. The other thing that's interesting on an ESG or sustainability perspective is when we're sourcing stuff, we know where everything comes from. So rather than a sort of traditional construction site, we can actually tell you, we can source everything. We can track the product from its inception until delivery because we actually are sourcing it, using our systems holistically rather than on a sort of trade by trade basis. So you can actually track all of that carbon. And of course, we all are thinking about, both embodied carbon, which is what you're talking about, little waste. We don't actually use any concrete, although we do use steel. But the operational carbon and the opportunity created by building that in a factory is pretty significant.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. All right, we got some more questions here. Henry Mickelberg, what does Roger think that the magic bullet to secure long-term factory throughput security looks like? Ooh, Henry likes magic bullets.
Yeah, I actually don't think it's a magic bullet. I actually think, and I think you're going to see this more and more. I think that factories are going to have to start to participate in the capital stack of development and secure their throughput by creating their own buildings. I think there's a number of advantages to that. And that doesn't mean they have to be the primary developer. It doesn't mean that they have to have hundreds of millions of dollars to sort of put to work. But what it does mean is that, in my mind, the the way to ensure that your factory is busy is to create the busyness for your factory. And I know that sounds like it, but that to me, I think, and you're going to see more and more of this, because the other thing that does is it gives you far more sort of proof points for the process, and you can do what you often have a hard time doing with even a very reliable developer, which is we want to build the same type of thing over and over again, whether it looks the same or not. And so I do think you're going to see more and more of that, and I do think that's maybe not a magic bullet, but it's certainly a shoulder in the right direction. So.
Perfect. Henry, thank you for tuning in to the question today. All right, we got 2 more questions here, and then we're coming up to a close. So Mo Feeder said, aside from timeline, what are the dollar savings modular apartments offer over traditional multifamily construction? That's another depends. I can feel it.
So I love the question, and I'm going to answer differently than it depends. What I'm going to tell you is that depending on what you're building, those cost savings change significantly. Depending on where you're building it, those cost savings change significantly. At the same time, what I was just talking about earlier, the economies of scale and the economies of process all have to do with how willing you are to create opportunities for those savings on time and money, which means, are you willing to create a design, build, or design, manufacture, construct, as we say, DMC team, that's focused on meeting your cost and time needs? And there are significant savings to be had. And it requires you to do that. If you don't do that, I wouldn't expect many savings at all. You're going to save some time, and you're going to get a higher quality product. But it really is up to you. And interestingly enough, the world's never been different, right? I used to do renovation when I was a little kid, and the homeowner was always responsible for whether it was successful and cost effective, right? And so you as a developer, if you want to be cost effective and save time, say, look, I want to build buildings and I have a budget of $250 a foot, and I know that my foundations are going to cost me 12. How do we get this done? Then you're going to see the savings potentially that you're looking for.
Awesome. Thank you for that question. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to a couple more here. Chad has a comment. Greatly appreciate the information I get from these shows. As a transporter focusing in on this industry, this is great stuff. Yeah, transportation's a big deal for what we do, and even that's changing. So, Chad, I don't know who you're with, but I know somebody that we spend a lot of time talking to is Stream Logistics, and the knowledge that you as a transporter and others have out there is paramount to the success of all of our offsite projects. So I just want to put it out there that we appreciate you about it. So let me ask you a quick question, Roger. Let's talk about design for manufacture, construct versus DFMA. So if we were to talk about design for manufacture, construct versus DFMA, what would you say is the difference? Did I lose you? Oh, man, we're going to have to work on Roger's internet here. So, oh, you back? I saw him move. Let me add him back in. Roger, you with us?
There we go. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm here.
So
I'm here. Can you hear me?
So
yep.
What is the, yeah, we can hear you. What is the difference between design for manufacture, construct versus DFMA in your mind?
Design for manufacture, construct to design for manufacture. Well, I mean, design for manufacture and assembly. What's the difference?
That was a question.
Besides a misnomer, I mean, in my view, I think forgetting what you call it, there's two ways of thinking, right? So to be designed to be created in a factory is one process that's acknowledging the fact that this stuff's being built in a place. Then if you want to give instructions to everybody or everything that's helping to manufacture it, there's another step required, which we call production drawings, but you can call it sort of whatever acronym you want. And that is another step, which is saying no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you have to give people or robots or CNC machines accurate instructions on how to create the built environment in the way that you want it done. So that's the extra step in my mind of the difference between the two.
Well, listen, if you look at anything out there that is a system, whether it's car manufacturing, whether it's Chick-fil-A, it doesn't matter. There's systems in place so people know how to operate what they need to operate to get the same output, to get the same quality, get the same product each and every time. So, Roger, is there anything you would like to leave us with? We're going to wrap up the show right here. So give us the words of wisdom from Roger Krulak out of Brooklyn, New York, soon to be a West Coaster.
Yeah, I think my advice is, if you're in the development space, if you're trying to create the built environment, and you're not utilizing the value and efficiency that manufacturing can provide and does to every other industry in the world, you are now behind the 8 ball. Get on board, do it in a way that makes you the most comfortable, build a whole building, build a bathroom, buy panels, do something, because this is part of your future, or you're going to need another career.
Right. For sure. For sure. Well, Carol says, Roger, you are an absolute legend. Green frame from New Zealand. So, man, you're world renowned. I love it. I love it. All right, Roger, thank you so much for taking the time today. Yeah, and for all of you out there, thank you for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We are trying to grow that channel, and we are also trying to get more and more people involved in this conversation. If you know anybody out there that we're missing, please let us know. If they're worthy of having them on this show, which is anybody building it better, anybody that's advancing the industry in a good, positive way, we want to hear about them. So tune in Friday with Mark Barenaked Willie and I, BS Friday. You do not want to miss this one. We're going to be talking about exterior envelopes of buildings from a world-class woman, the only woman business able to talk about this in all of Iowa, I believe it was, if I look at it. I got to look. Maybe I got my cities wrong. You want to tune in this Friday. We're going to have a great show. Roger, you stay right there. I'll come back to you at the end. And everybody else out there, enjoy the new outro and the intros we've been doing. And again, if you're not following Roger, make sure you follow Roger as well. Roger, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave.
All right. Stay right there. Bye, everybody.